It's been a long time since I've last uploaded a video, but I'm back for the moment. Um, I've had a pretty interesting year to say the least, but I'll do some update videos here probably within the next couple of weeks when I have a little bit more time. Um, I've been having a lot going on in my life. I apologize again still for the poor quality and trying to angle this just right so I don't look like I have demon eyes. Um, but on that subject, I actually wanted to talk about something that I've noticed is very serious, and that is not enough people are talking about this, the cross, the love that comes and emanates from it. That in this day and age, to worship God, to praise Jesus, it's now being mocked way worse than it has ever been. And seeing what all these different signs that are not even at all subtle anymore. Subtlety is out the window. And I've actually come up with a lot of thought about that. I'm a pretty perceptive person and been taking a lot of interest in reopening my heart with Jesus, with God more, just based off of what I'm seeing, what's going on in life. Um, I've come to notice a few things in my exploration that really interested me, and I'll try to strike them in 3 points. The first that I'd like to kind of talk on is that when God cast out Satan and his angels, he threw them down, and I saw that it is theorized they could be emanating from the water. That's why we have this natural curiosity, but this fear, or the call of the deep, as some refer to it, where people are drawn towards the abyss. And nothing, God's light can't even shine down there. It's the true point of no return. Moses, when he took all of the slaves out of Egypt, they parted the seas and they walked through. When Jesus had approached his disciples, he had walked on water. And that really struck me as a curious thing. When God flooded the earth, trying to purify and purge all of the evil and sin from the ancient world, that they themselves were punished. The selected few survived, and those that were rewarded with the sight of the pure rainbow above, that was God's promise that he would never flood the earth again. And I believe God on that, because the water level has drastically risen up, and there's a special, I'm trying to word this carefully, there's a uniqueness of the ocean and the water, like it has a mind of its own. And if that is indeed Satan's domain, it makes sense why he's able to just distort. That is his realm. That's why it's so dangerous. The second point that I wanted to talk about is a lot of these videos of people that will be assaulted just trying to preach the word of God. Not okay. It is called freedom of religion for a reason. And if people want to go ahead and openly, support their own religions, They have the right to do so, but to openly mock and shun Christians and Catholics alike, just those that do worship God, the one God, and Jesus Christ, you need to understand they're not trying to shove it down your throat. They are doing it with the intent of saving you. Now, there are those that do take this a step too far, or they go ahead and just fake it till they make it, trying to get those clicks. You have to have the good, honest intent. And when you scroll through the videos and you can feel it in your gut, what the real experiences are, you can't deny that feeling that you feel inside. Your own spirit, your essence connects with it. That's what draws in the emotions. And then the third point that I wanted to talk about that I thought was beautiful was that if we are created in God's image, He is the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. We are mind, body, and soul. That they are separate, but they are unified. We cannot exist without the other. That is our own body. We do not worship and put our body first. We take care of our morals. We take care of what is right and trying to pass those messages on. I always thought that was really beautiful when that thought process had occurred to me, and when I was exposed to that concept, that idea, that was really beautiful, because it made me think about when I was younger and I was ignorant. I'm going to go ahead and talk about something that had occurred to me when I was in high school. I was in the 11th grade, and a friend of mine at the time gave me a gift, a demonic Bible. I myself had read from it, and I was curious. I wasn't mocking God or anything like that, at least that I can remember. But if I did, I knew that it was only in half effort. When I had read from it, I had read a few of them aloud. One was for Satan, one was for Legion, one was for Sitri, and then the fourth, and this is what concerns me, is that I can't remember the fourth one. But I remember that it was based off of luck, and on that very specific one, I remember in great detail, very carefully thinking as a set of scales in my mind. Very seldom would I expect something, but only to be surprised, and I would have the understanding that it is a good with bad. I wouldn't expect a massive shift or anything, and I wasn't greedy with that intent, just to see what would happen. After that in my life, I graduated. I had a series of events that had ultimately led me to couch hopping for several years. I had poor relations with anyone who I was trying to date for a while, and I had just chalked it up to it was me trying to figure out my sexuality at the time, dealing with possible trans related issues at the time. That was more or less what I felt in my heart was kind of my dilemma, and that was conflicting me while trying to get a home. I ultimately, before I ended up starting to transition, I had just decided in my mind, I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to go ahead and start to transition. And in that moment, that's when I met the mother of my child. And it was interesting because I had pushed aside trying to transition in an effort to give it this is my last shot, so to speak. I'm giving it one more try because I'm tired of being hurt. And things were great for 5 years. Towards the end, it started getting stale and just a lot of fighting. The spark was gone, and it felt like I was a hollow husk. And there's, even to this day, there's certain days where I feel like a husk still. I'm here, but it's not quite the same. I love that I'm not shallow. I take what I had struggled to deal with and understand where my flaws were. I understand where I had messed up and where I had put myself in intentional problem zones because I was trying to learn and get wise. So that way I wouldn't make the mistakes in the future. And if God allowed me the chance to be a parent, I could pass those teachings on to my son or my daughter, just my child in general, if I was blessed. And towards the end of the relationship, when I was about ready again to say, just forget it, I'm done, that's when I started to transition. I was getting ready to, and then we found out we were pregnant, that we were to expect our son. And it was, again, it distracted me and swayed me from that path. Like God was trying to lead me away. I have this kind of leads me up to current where I'm at now. I'm in a dilemma crossroads where I'm starting to look in on possibly detransitioning. I'm almost in 2 months. At the end of March, I'll have been 2 years on hormones. So I haven't been as fluent in my hormones when I came to the realization and understanding, which I knew from the beginning, just so commenters don't get it twisted. But I'm starting to realize that the transition is making a lot of people unhappy. That's why I had no interest in body augmentations other than hormones, just to see how I felt at first. And the more that I'm getting in line with God, the more I'm realizing that this is just making it lonely for me. It makes people not necessarily uncomfortable, but unsure of how to respond because I'm too, not going to say poor, but I'm not exactly rich to where I can just be greedy and blow it on makeup and outfits or wigs or reconstruction, surgeries, and all of that. Because at the end of the day, I'm so grateful to be a parent and have my son. He's not with me now. He's at his mom's for her half of the weekend, but I'm starting to just really feel that at the end of the day, I don't care for. I didn't transition for lust. That was never it, to hook up with men. I didn't do it to have people call me pronouns, and I actually hate that crap. I roast people about it on the comments all the time. And really, it was just a matter of how I've always felt, just internally. And I had saw once that there were different depictions for what we see as angels and what they actually are depicted as. And one of the angels that I saw um, in my travels, and I can be wrong about this. If I am, I stand corrected, but there was a two-sided angel, like a face on one side and on the other, one of male and one of female. And to me, I thought that this was beautiful because that's how I feel. That's who I am in my spirit and my soul. The body, the vessel, was designed male. I feel that for me, that is enough. I'm not the same as women, and I'll never know the same. But the difference is I'm more at peace with coming to terms that that's okay. That I won't be the same, and that is okay. That was no one's fault. And being 31 years old, having all of my life to really think of this since age 9 up to now, I have what I want, and are you happy with it? And the only thing I can think about is just wanting to get back to Christ. And the more that I do that, the almost silly it seems about the transitioning, because this is what Satan wants. He wants us to destroy our bodies, to destroy our temples. Our body is the vessel of God. We are filled with the God essence. And if that's the case, then we were designed the way we were. We shouldn't have to mask ourselves with makeup, which is why I never did. I never wanted to offend women in the sense of being like the great many masses that think, woman face, hey, I'm now a woman, yay. When in reality, you're acting out a caricature and it's painfully obvious. If you're effeminate in nature, just own that. Be happy. I am. And, you know, learn to love yourself. If you learn to love yourself, learn to love God and rediscover Jesus. That doesn't mean you have to go to church, but you have to come to terms with God. God is a relationship with you and everyone. He is everywhere and everything. If you are serious, He knows because He's already seen it. It's up to us to go ahead and fight on our mistakes that we made. What I had said earlier in the video about the choices I made in high school, about those that I had read from that stupid Bible, that demonic Bible, that aberration, that as an older person now, I know is wrong and I regret it. I just want, and I feel that in my heart, I am given another chance because I should have died 2 years ago. I had a night of debauchery with a married couple. It's not like something I do all the time, and forgive me for being, a little too honest, but I see no shame. I'm not going into explicits, but that's the gist of it. On the way home, a deer had crossed in front of my path and it was heavy fog. Now, what you have to understand when deers are sorry, this is a deer, pretend this is the head up here. When the deer jumped in front of me, it was in mid bound, feet first, the head up here, and something visibly pushed the head back to where it was awkward like this. And its hind legs were still up in the air, like it was stopped in mid-air, like it hit a wall. And that was when my car just sideswiped it, just barely hitting, because if it was out further, I would have died. Picture around your screen, like in a video game when you're hurt and you have that red kind of like zooming in. That's what it felt in my vision. And I felt God say, and I mean it, I felt him say these 5 words: do not do that again. The redlining went back to normal. I was shaking, and not because of the contact from the deer. I averted that. I felt that I was quick enough because I had survived. But when I heard that and felt my body, my core, my spiritual light, everything go ahead and like literally it felt like shaking like this, it scared the crap out of me, and it put the fear of God back in me. I knew that beforehand it was wrong, and I felt in that moment, because I hadn't done it enough, I rarely ever hooked up for anything. It's the pleasure of the flesh. I rarely partake in that. And because I succumbed to a mockery of what is a beautiful union of man and wife, typically, so forgive me in context, but for marriage is between 2 people, and I had invaded on that, and God was not okay with that. God, in my relationship, my personal relationship with him, he rarely speaks. But when he does speak, you're wise to listen. And because of it, I was given a chance. I was given a home, a car, my son, a job. I have pets. I have the things that I can be grateful for. And I just want to be prayed for, that what I did in my younger youth, what I'm doing to my body now, and what I'm considering doing to restore that balance. It's not an attack on the trans community, and I'll still always be a supporter for those who they feel in their mind it's the right thing to do. But I'm gonna continue on my individual path, because at the end of the day, I want to be up there. I want to be with the cross. I want to go home to God. I want to be with my family when they die, when we shut off our mortal coil, when I know that it's my time. I just want to know that I have something set up for my son. I taught my son how to survive and be strong for when I'm gone. And then 3, I just want to be remembered that I had tried in my life to do the right thing, that I didn't succumb to evil temptations, that I had tried to just generally be good and do good, because I felt and feel that that's what God would have wanted of me. So I thank you for taking the time to watch this random person with the shitty camera for an update video at almost 10 o'clock Western time. Please go ahead, instead of a like or subscribe, just send a prayer. Let me know that what I'm doing now is not attention clout, because I don't care about that. The fact that I hardly upload, I'm not here for the attention, but more to inform. Just pray for me that I can find the signs that God will send his brightest angels to continue to look out for me, to help me out of those prayers that I made to the misguided, that I didn't offer up my soul, or at the very least parts of it. Because I do repent and I do love Jesus Christ. I do love the Lord. And I'm, again, so sorry for the lighting. Doesn't help if it looks like I've got the dark eyes. Like, I swear, it's not even a filter. I hate filters. But definitely going to need to do another update video to try to help clarify. But I've had a lot of these different types of thoughts in my mind, and just after seeing all the evil in last year, this year needs to be for change. We all need to make big changes, and we need to start looking after our neighbors, not close off from one another. Love and watch after thy neighbor as if they were your own. Be the compassionate one. You see that person that's out on the street, you know the difference between a pretender and the one who's generally suffering, because they're the ones that have the genuine defeat, the ones that felt like they really were forgotten and forsaken. You can't fake that. Continue to look after one another. And again, thank you very much for taking the time to watch my video. And may God watch over you. May Jesus watch over you. And may you be protected from the devil and his dark forces behind, because they want you. We need to rise up. We need to go back to God.